Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Again, I'm Elisa Buffini, the Program Director of Language Services at Catholic Charities of Louisville. This session is going to show you an overview of the site admin preferences, the settings that are available to site administrators. I'm going to show you how you would invite the rest of your team. I'll show you how to view what you're spending and take a look at your rates. And I'll show you how to set up a few features that'll save you some time. So I'm going to log in here under our administrative account. Again, this is an administrative requester account. This not only are you the site administrator, but you will also have scheduling privileges with this access. So you'll notice again that we log in and we're seeing the dashboard. And of course, this is going to show you all of your pending appointments, things that have been scheduled and are coming up. This is the same as what a requester will see. In addition to the logs that the requester also has. One thing that they won't see is a snapshot of your activity. So over here is where you're going to see the number of hours that you're spending on on-demand calls, appointments, ratings, average ratings of calls, and you can select the date range that you're looking for, whether it's a week or a month, and take a look at your activity. This will show you what days you're the busiest, what time of the day, that sort of thing. So we'll move on to configuration. Again, if you watch the scheduler portion of this, this is exactly the same. So I'm really not going to go into a whole lot about this, other than the fact that under the configuration tab here, this is where not only will you build out your profile, but you'll also be able to update information about your organization. So by clicking on the company tab, this is going to show us some information here. For example, this is the quick list that I mentioned using the mobile application. This is exactly where I went to create that list. Over here under pre-authenticated PIN management, I showed you earlier where you had to have that IVR PIN to be able to call in and get an interpreter over the phone with your landline. Now, this may be something of interest to you if you're going to be calling in from the same phone number all the time. For example, if you're using a cell phone in the field to call in from a patient's home or something like that, and you're the only person who uses that phone. Maybe in this instant you had to put it on a personal device. So you could actually set up that phone call or that phone number so that you wouldn't have to give that PIN every single time you call. It's going to automatically recognize that phone number. This is a list, as I mentioned earlier, where you can build in your frequently used locations. So if your office has a number of branches or common places that you would have patients meet with interpreters, this is a good place to do it. You can add it. It makes it really easy to add quickly in the application screen. Third-party billing, you can add information here if your invoices need to be sent to a third party, some other agency who takes care of this processing for you. You can add that information here. This consumers tab, this is the list of your clients or patients that your schedulers will be adding as they're adding consumers and scheduling appointments. So when they schedule an appointment for Joe Brown or something like that, they would add that person as a consumer, and then you would have a list here of all of the consumers that are in your group that your practice sees. You can add consumers on this page, or you can simply scroll through the ones that are here. Obviously, none are here yet, so but once your schedulers can be building this list, building this database as they schedule. This is where we will show you your rates depending on your contract agreement with Catholic Charities. This is where you will see. You'll be able to see the standard rate that you're paying and the term. So if it's, $45 an hour or $40 an hour with a 2-hour minimum term, minimum time, and then this is all for on-site consecutive. As I mentioned, we're only using on-site consecutive. This is for telephone and video. So all languages under telephonic and video, so VRI, OPI, all languages except for American Sign Language are offered at the same price. So these prices, I realize that there's zeros in here now, but when you are looking at this from your screen, you will see that these prices mirror one another. They're the same. So it doesn't matter if you prefer to get an interpreter by phone or an interpreter by video, the cost is going to be the same. There is a 15-minute minimum and then a per minute charge thereafter. These other rate classifications here are for travel time for interpreters that have to go 30 miles beyond our local office. That's in the contract that many of you already have in place. We're looking at changes to this, but that's going to be a little while. I don't have the time to do that right now. And then, of course, there will be a different rate for American Sign Language. That is generally a little more expensive. But again, you pay for 15-minute minimum and then per minute thereafter. This is your user tab. So this is where you would invite your team. This is where you would invite people or grant access to people on your team who need to be able to schedule. So if you were to click invite an individual, you can add that person's email address here. And you can add multiple email addresses and send one group. So if you have a whole group of folks at your front office or whatever it might be, you can enter them all at one time and send an invitation. One invitation will be sent to each individual. And this is the tab for administrators. So if you want to invite another administrator, for example, your practice manager, if that's not you, if you have, I don't know, your higher up, somebody else who might, or somebody else in the office who may also need administrative abilities. This is where you would grant them access as an administrator. You should be able to, there will be a list of your users here. You'll see that this person, this account is already enabled as an administrator, but you would be able to add new people should you need to. Under your user list, once you have your users listed down here, you can go in and edit their permissions. So if you want to change them from a regular schedule user to an administrator, you can do that just by clicking and editing their permissions. Your appointment tab looks, of course, the exact same as the way it did for schedulers. Because we are using this particular account a little more often for training, this is why there's more stuff scheduled here. But you'll notice that there are a bunch of appointments. They're all color-coded. For example, this one is been scheduled and has been sent to 2 different interpreters who meet the qualifications of the appointment. That is not something that you'll see on your end. You'll only see the interpreter that actually accepts the assignment. Again, you can click the activities tab to see what has taken place so far. When I created this appointment, I did create it from a clone. I cloned it to be able to not have to re-enter every single thing. So that's a neat feature that is in BoostLingo. I'll show you how to do that too. This is going to give you a summary of your account charges. whether for your rates would be listed here. Any additional expenses, for example, like mileage, things like that would all be listed here. If you had to, we had to bring supplies of some kind, I don't know if that would be listed here. And then this is the documents tab. So anything that would have to do with this particular appointment, documents that are relating to it, whether that be supporting documents for, we get phone calls from legal groups pretty often, and they will send us documents for the interpreter to be able to review. This is handy for the interpreter to have it ahead of time so that if they should run into terminology that they haven't seen in a while or just need to refresh themselves about, they have time to research that prior to the meeting. Okay, and so I believe, again, notes having to do with particular appointments. I think I showed this in the scheduler video. If you need to get a little more information about actually scheduling a phone call or using the mobile application, you can check out the scheduler video here on our YouTube channel. And I thank you very much for participating. Have a great day.